First, start by securing your thread to the hook, and once it's secure, snip off the excess thread. Now take your thread and wrap it back to about halfway along the shank of the hook. That's where we're going to tie in our Flashabou. We selected about 8 to 10 pieces of Flashabou, folded them over, and then secured them in right in the middle of the shank of the hook. The length of the tail should roughly be 3 times the length of the shank. And now it's time to add the underbody material. The underbody material is made out of a white ice dub fur. And after we figured out our proportions, we're going to secure that down right in the middle of the hook. Now we're going to flip the hook over and tie in some more underbody white ice fur dub on the bottom of the shank of the hook. Once it's nice and secure, snip off the excess. And now it's time to add a little bit of color to our fly. Take notice before we secure it down that this particular piece is not as long as the tail originally started. This is when we're going to start tapering our bait fish to look more like a bait fish. And although we've started putting the color to our fish, the underbody is going to remain that white color. Secure that in and snip off the excess. After turning your fly right side up again, we're going to repeat the process, adding a little bit of color on top of our bait fish. And now after we flip the hook over, we're going to do something a little different this time. Using only half the amount of ice fur we would normally use, we're going to secure that piece on the bottom of the hook, and then we're going to double that over and re-secure that to the bottom of the hook, so that way the material is facing back toward the bend of the hook. This is how we're going to start the taper of our bait fish. After flipping the fly back over, we're going to repeat that same process, only now, since we're on top of the fly, we're going to start using the colorful material. Now after securing that down on top of the shank of the hook, it kind of leaves a little bit of an edge there. So take that edge and pull it back at about a 45-degree angle, and with your scissors, snip that straight back. That's going to give our bait fish a better taper. Now flip the fly over and repeat the process. Now once you've reached about 3/4 the length of the shank of the hook, we're going to add a little bit more flash on either side of our bait fish. Selecting about 8 to 10 strands of Flashabou, secure them in on either side of the shank of the hook. And once your Flashabou is nice and secure on your hook, go back to adding ice fur to the bait fish, creating the taper. Keep in mind that when selecting materials and colors for your bait fish, that you can use an array of different materials, like shimmer fringe, super hair, and all kinds of EP fibers. It's now, when we're almost complete with the fly, is when we're going to add a slightly darker color to the fly itself. We're only going to be adding this color on top of the shank of the hook. And now that we've completed the body, we're going to take our thread and wrap around the head of the fly, securing down all of our loose materials. And once that is complete, it's time to whip finish. And once your thread is secure, snip off the excess. Now to really add some life to our fly, we're going to take our black Sharpie marker and color just the head part on top of the material black, and then the rest of the body we're going to add stripes all the way down to the end of the tail of our bait fish. Now don't forget to repeat the process on the other side of the bait fish. But once it's complete and your bait fish is looking good, it's time to add the eyes. We're going to put a dab of thick, clear cure goo on the spot where we want to put the eye. Place the eye in the clear cure goo and then shoot it with some UV light. Follow the same process on the other side of the fly. If you don't have clear cure goo, go ahead and use some Zap-A-Gap to secure down the eye. And once it's complete and your eyes are in place, you have yourself a bait fish.